Nvidia underwater just fractionally here, but nothing big in the world of Nvidia. But we've got Coreweave heading in the other direction in double digits. We've just had both the CEOs obviously talking. Michael Intrater's been here on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange, and in fact, I actually got a chance to speak with him. He's very excited. Obviously, this is all about the infrastructure here. Just talk us through the significance of this story with respect to Coreweave and Nvidia this morning, and what it could mean for the broader market.
Yeah, I think it keeps the AI story alive, at least for now. Once again, some of this kind of funding rounds, or if you're seeing kind of this integrated funding that's taking place, the market has questioned it in the past. Maybe they're going to do the same here today. Who knows? But Nvidia is going to invest around $2 billion into Coreweave at around $87.20 a share. This is also going to result in Coreweave leveraging some of Nvidia's CPUs as well as storage platforms just in general, and try to ramp up some of that production and provide additional capacity in the market. So it's an investment for Nvidia. It's also maybe potentially a revenue generator for Nvidia over the long term as well. It brings additional capacity to the market. Let's see how we actually respond. I mean, Coreweave's up about 11%, 12% at this point in time off the highs. Nvidia was actually green early on. It looks like it did turn a little bit red here. So if we get this concern about this this funding type of mechanism that we are seeing in the AI space coming to fruition again, like we did see when it came to Oracle about a month ago, maybe that does cause a little bit of volatility. I'm not sure if we're there yet, though.
Okay, and as we say, we do have plenty of headlines surrounding Nvidia as well. Jensen Huang this morning talking from China, where he, of course, is meeting with some of the companies over there with respect to what's going to happen next with the H200 chips. Remains a big question mark. Obviously, we've got these headlines around Samsung and Nvidia as well. We're going to be talking.
According to Vivek Arya of Bank of America, the semiconductor industry is preparing for a game of musical chairs, and the best seat may be the most obvious. In a recent discussion with clients, Arya stated that our chosen compute names, NVIDIA, Broadcom, AMD, and Coreweave, are expected to increase sales by an average of 42%. Arya contends that these cloud chip behemoths are trading at a very attractive valuation backdrop of only 0.5x their price-to-earnings growth, PEG ratio, despite their enormous reach. According to the math, the leading companies in the AI revolution are actually trading at a sharp discount to their growth, which is surprising for an industry that is frequently accused of being in a valuation bubble. With major semiconductor companies like ASML, Lam Research, and Texas Instruments scheduled to report, the call coincides with the start of a crucial earnings week. In the meanwhile, as a Federal Reserve rate decision approaches, investors are closely monitoring the macro environment. Despite the fact that the Philadelphia Semiconductor Index has already surpassed the S&P 500 by almost 11% this year, BofA cautions that the easy money in equipment manufacturers may have already been made. Now the bank is indicating a reshuffling away from pricey tool manufacturers and toward computation engines like Nvidia. The math is what makes Arya doubt the present market leaders. Many semi-cap stocks, the businesses that build the machinery used to create chips, need to show significant increases in earnings in order to justify their current price tags. These stocks might have peaked for the cycle if consensus earnings growth hadn't been significantly re-rated into the 20% level. Majors like Lam Research and Applied Materials are currently selling at more than 2.1 times their PEG ratio. This renders BofA susceptible to short-term profit-taking based on its valuation criteria. Only KLA Corp stands out as a viable wager at 1.8x PEG within that particular category. The bank claims that the trustworthy users of these tools, the designers of AI chips, now have the true opportunity. Despite a predicted 49% earnings growth rate through 2027, Nvidia and its competitors are currently selling below their historical multiples. In a rare instance, this divergence makes the chip designers a greater value proposition than the businesses who provide their infrastructure. However, investors should move cautiously if they want to bottom fish in the analog chip market. Arya warns investors not to mistake seasonality for a fresh upcycle, even though Texas Instruments is anticipated to report strong statistics this week. The bank thinks that the analog comeback is more of a mirage than a move, given the continued decline of manufacturing output and the reduced production of automobiles. Rather, the emphasis should continue to be on major tech hyperscalers' mission-critical investment. According to BofA's Cloud CapEx tracker, expenditure on AI infrastructure is increasing at a rate of 38% annually. By year's end, this percentage might increase to as much as 50% as companies fight to stay competitive. The bank's interest in the AI boom goes beyond the trillion-dollar club, even if the reshuffle is currently focused on the computing giants. This approach is in line with a larger thesis presented by Arya in December, in which he named a group of small and mid-cap firms that are well-positioned to benefit from the AI tailwind. Join our investor community. Hit subscribe and like to get your daily NVIDIA stock insights and tutorials delivered. The Maia 200 is a new in-house AI accelerator that Microsoft just unveiled, pitching it as a processor designed for high-performance inference workloads within Azure. Many investors are probably curious about how this chip might affect NVIDIA, the AI chip manufacturer whose software stack and graphics processing units, GPUs, are now essential to the development of AI computing. In summary, although Microsoft's Maia 200 is a noteworthy chip, investors in NVIDIA should be more concerned about the rate at which wealthy cloud providers are developing alternatives to some of the work that has been directed toward NVIDIA's GPUs. As more inference capacity is provided by proprietary silicon inside the largest cloud platforms, will NVIDIA continue to hold a sizable portion of AI spending? On Monday, Microsoft made a huge announcement about the Maia 200. The company said in a blog post about Maia 200 that it is a revolutionary inference accelerator designed to significantly enhance the economics of AI token creation. Because it is designed for large-scale AI workloads and offers effective performance per dollar, the chip excels in both performance and cost efficiency, according to the company. The Maia 200 boasts 3 times the FP4 performance of Amazon's 3rd-generation Trainium, and its FP8 performance surpasses Alphabet's 7th-generation TPU, according to the company's direct comparison with other hyperscaler chips. For individuals who are unfamiliar with technical chip jargon, Microsoft provided a clear explanation. With 30% more performance per dollar than the newest hardware in our fleet, Maia 200 is also the most effective inference system Microsoft has ever implemented. The business claimed that it will even contribute to the power of OpenAI's most recent GPT models. Why NVIDIA's platform remains superior? Although it would lessen Microsoft's dependency on NVIDIA, the Maia 200 is probably largely part of the company's attempt to operate its cloud more effectively. It's also important to remember that NVIDIA offers benefits beyond simple computation. A single in-house processor is difficult to replicate across a wide range of workloads, so it combines GPUs with networking and a software stack that many developers already build around. The growth of AI ASICs, or application-specific integrated circuits, or specially made chips for effective specialized AI jobs, was discussed by NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang during the company's most recent earnings call. He claimed that NVIDIA's platform appeals to cloud customers because, in contrast to ASICs, its solutions are incredibly resilient and diversified, and they can be implemented across almost all models. To put it another way, chips like the Maia 200 are typically only helpful for extremely narrow activities, even while they can assist cloud providers lessen their dependency on NVIDIA. It's not like NVIDIA is having trouble in the interim. NVIDIA announced $57.0 billion in revenue for the 3rd quarter of fiscal 2026, which ended on October 26, 2025. This represents a 62% year-over-year increase. Compared to the previous quarter, when revenue increased 56% year-over-year, that growth rate was higher. NVIDIA's major source of income is still data center revenue. It recorded $51.2 billion in data center revenue for the 3rd quarter, a 66% increase from the previous year. A cause for skepticism. As of this video, investors are still paying roughly 46 times NVIDIA's earnings. Given the growing likelihood that NVIDIA's market opportunity would be gradually undermined by well-funded hyperscalers like Microsoft, Alphabet, and Amazon, it is a premium valuation. Although I don't anticipate any significant disruptions, NVIDIA may see its pricing power erode if these large cloud providers eventually figure out how to replace NVIDIA's products with more in-house technologies. The specialized solutions from Maia 200 and other cloud providers probably won't undermine NVIDIA's platform advantage in the end, but they do strengthen the competitive environment that investors are paying for. Should alternatives like this gradually weaken Nvidia's pricing leverage, the business would find it difficult to defend its lofty valuation. On Monday, Nvidia unveiled 3 open-source AI models designed to produce more accurate weather forecasts more quickly. The models are a part of the company's larger effort to offer open-source software, which the AI chipmaker unveiled at the annual conference of the American Meteorological Society in Houston. When it comes to weather forecasting, Nvidia wants to replace time-consuming and costly traditional weather simulations with AI-driven models that, according to the firm, can match or surpass more accurate approaches. Once trained, the AI models are also less expensive to operate and faster. Mike Pritchard, a professor of Earth System Sciences at the University of California, Irvine, and director of climate simulation research at Nvidia, stated that the insurance sector will be one of the real-world business uses for the new weather models. Extreme outlier events, like severe storms or floods, are frequently of interest to insurance firms. However, because weather forecasting is done in ensembles, or collections of individual member predictions about how a weather event would unfold from a specific beginning point, it has historically been costly to make detailed predictions about such phenomena. The ensembles must have a large number of members in order to identify potential outlier events, but precisely calculating each one to see whether a specific attribute might flood takes time. According to Pritchard's interview, once trained, AI is 1,000 times faster, so the tension is gone. Thus, you may manage large ensembles. Additionally, insurance companies manage ensembles with about 10,000 members. The NVIDIA Earth 2 models, which were introduced on Monday, include one that can combine multiple data streams from different weather sensors to make them a more useful starting point for other forecasting technologies, one that focuses on 6-hour forecasts for severe storms over the United States, and one that forecasts weather for 15 days. Following NVIDIA's announcement of a $2 billion investment in an artificial intelligence, AI, infrastructure company, Coreweave stock surged on January 26th. At first glance, it appears to be a strong support of Coreweave's ambitious goal to construct 5 gigawatts of data centers, an incredible amount of capacity that is essential for the rapidly growing AI business. But in a CNBC interview today, NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang made a subtle but important warning that makes it worthwhile to reconsider buying Coreweave shares at the current price. Huang told CNBC on Monday that NVIDIA's investment amounts to a relatively small percentage of Coreweave's overall financial requirements, implying that the road to 5 GW is significantly more complicated and costly than the headlines suggest. His comments highlight the enormity of Coreweave's project, since industry estimates place the setup costs for 5 GW of AI data centers between $50 billion and $75 billion. This indicates financial and dilution risk for current investors, as Coreweave still has to fund tens of billions of dollars, a large portion of which may come from debt or stock issues. Huang's remarks somewhat lessens the appeal of chasing upward momentum in Coreweave stock. Huang's remarks serves as a sobering reminder that Coreweave is still a pre-production company in comparison to its 5 GW dream, despite its enormous potential and recent valuation increases. Even if they run smaller-scale cloud infrastructure that already exists, reaching 5 GWs would require building facilities that use about the same amount of energy as 5 big nuclear power plants. This voyage will be lengthy, capital-intensive, and rife with the typical complications of large-scale infrastructure development, such as supply chain problems, technological integration, and permitting delays, as evidenced by the significant amount of money still to be raised. For Coreweave stock, the process involves a marathon of previously unheard-of logistical and financial needs rather than a simple flip. Huang's comment aptly captures the Jensen paradox, an outward optimism regarding AI's prospects combined with an inward, meticulous realism regarding the associated expenses and difficulties. Huang controls market enthusiasm by quietly emphasizing the enormous amount of capital that is still needed. He wants Coreweave to become a significant customer of NVIDIA's processors, but he's also making sure that the company's reputation isn't linked to an overly optimistic or even impractical schedule for a concept that requires tens of billions of dollars and decades of relentless execution. Additionally noteworthy is the fact that Coreweave shares are not breaking above their 100-day moving average at the $102 level today, indicating that the bullish momentum is almost exhausted. Additionally, Coreweave is currently selling at more than 10 times sales, which seems excessive for a business that hasn't even made a profit yet. Don't forget to share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Your input helps create a more knowledgeable community where we can all learn and grow together in the world of investing. Stay up to date with the latest market trends, insights, and key updates by subscribing to Investing Tutorial. We're here to help you make smarter investment decisions and stay ahead of the curve.
Yeah, we are seeing market breadth actually expanding here. A lot of participation in this market, especially when you're looking at the positive flows on the volume front here. Last time that I checked, we only had one sector that was in the red at this point in time. Kind of changing here a tad bit. We are seeing industrials as well as energy kind of turning into the red here, but we did see some positive momentum taking place. And I think from a technical standpoint, we do have to, once again, kind of close above that 20-day moving average at the end of this week. Hopefully try to break out here. You are seeing some options flows on the SPX that does kind of point to maybe some positive price action for the S&P 500 over the next couple of trading sessions here. So I think that's actually a positive. And you are seeing a little bit of a rotation back into the Mag 7 names. Microsoft performing really well here today. Had a really strong day on Friday. And some other companies, Nvidia, once again, catching a little bit of a bid. We'll talk about that story in a second here. So I would not be surprised if we actually see the Mag 7 stocks, communication services, and technology actually outperform this week rather than this broadening trade into, let's say, industrials or materials or utilities.